TY and Scarlett. We start to the bottom right hand side of the map from Splice. Our blue Terran player is TY. Top left hand side from Team Expert, it is Scarlett. Gotta unlock them emote slots, you're right. 29 to go for Wardy new emote. Exciting times. I'm actually going to shut my window properly because it keeps banging, and now I've just realized it's actually torrential rain outside, so holy crap, it's actually torrential rain. Man, it's actually flooding the car parks. Wow, that's crazy. It changes so much at just a moment's notice. Now's coming in with that, or no whiz, no nows, no whiz. I mean the W's capitalized, I'm not sure. Coming in with the $5 sub. And the weekly all-in coming with the Twitch Prime sub as well. Boom! That's it. 250 subs. Wow. Just like that. By the way, if you are subscribing for replays, send me a whisper on Twitch that you want them, and I'll send them to you. Otherwise, you won't get them until the new Twitch message to all subs goes out. So I can send them to you today if you let me. Scarlett has seen this proxy T-Rex in the early game, and so she's pulling drones in to shut it down, and she is going to get rid of one SCV on the nearly finished barracks here, and TY it's maybe in a little bit of trouble right now. SCV number 2 goes down. The barracks are denied. And oh my god, just like that, TY is cancelling his racks and going back home and going back to the drawing board. What an absolute disaster. What an absolute disaster right there. As TY goes for, well, the complete reset on the build order. Oh no, they might be bad though, because the CC building on the low ground, but delayed racks. Lings go straight across the map. It's a large map, Backwater, map by Avex, by the way, in the macro category. It's a large map, but I feel as though it's one of those ones that it doesn't matter if you've cancelled your racks. Might not be good enough. Thank you very much to Jivol as well, coming in with that sub. With Twitch Prime as well. Thank you so much, guys, if you just subscribed. This game's getting a bit crazy, so let me say that I'll thank you all again properly just after this series, after this game. Let's focus up on this game, because this could get crazy right now. Reaper's on the way, but not for a long time, and 4 Zerglings are going to delay the CC even further, and TY is finding himself in an absolute disastrous position in the early stage of game number 1. Scarlett is starting to run away with this just a little bit. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. What a crazy one. Such a large map to try and proxy racks on. We're also going to be seeing the SCV moving around, looking to see what might happen. Couple of SCVs being pushed away. This CC is getting low, though. Here comes the Reaper. Okay, this will be a cleanup, but again, a big delay on the CC nonetheless. And it does still put Scarlett into a mighty fine position, continue to move on through. Gonna be seeing the Reaper. Just gonna finish off that final Zergling here. Final link goes down, and this CC will finish in just a moment or so. Wow, wow, wow. This was crazy. This was really crazy. The double cancel on the proxy racks, the delayed CC, and Scarlett is getting into a fantastic position in game number 1. Absolutely incredible. Alright then, as the game will maybe settle down a little bit, just this Reaper moving around. Well, actually a lair on the way up. You know what? Scarlett is probably going to be going in towards the lair to get in towards a Nidus network. I mean, wouldn't you, lair, Nidus network, just go all in when you know your opponent's been slowed down so badly throughout the game? Nidus to bring the queens across or something. I guess she could go for something. What's she going to build? She's going to go Spire. Okay. I guess that makes sense too. Go Spire. Kind of, again, utilize that to just find a way back into the game. This was a really good map yesterday as well, by the way, guys. I know this obviously game right now doesn't look as though we're going to see much of the map. But map yesterday was played on Gumiho versus Sue. And it was one of the better I mean, we had so many good TVZs yesterday, actually. But this map really did create a pretty crazy kind of longer game TVZ, and I think what we really saw is because the middle is really just left open to push and to fight, and it's you know, he really kind of creates kind of this idea of just having so much space to work with, and it was really cool in the TVZ. Hellions moving around right now, as we do see a couple of Hellions sat at the front as well. The Spire continue to come on up here, some more Zerglings on the way out. Creep still just pushing forward. Scarlett no third hatch of her own just yet, while the third CC of TY will be finishing. TY is going to go quad Cyclones. Cyclones against Mutas aren't bad, but they're not really great either, you know? They're not really that sort of unit, just like, aha! But it is some kind of anti-air at least. So we'll see how it's going to work out. Armory on the way. Obviously, TY wants to play kind of Hellbat Cyclone here. Hellion Cyclone sort of style. We'll see what these muters can do from Scarlett, who is supply blocked, actually trying to get her first mutalist out. So that's a little bit of a tough one. I really fancied the Nidus initially, because imagine Nidus would have hit kind of like a little bit earlier than the Spire does, etc. It's kind of tough. We've seen the Lings pulling back a little bit here. Third hatch on the way from Scarlett to the left side. And again, those Hellions just going to be pushing on forwards for TUI. Looking to see what might happen. Some Cyclones coming in from the back as well. Another meter just going to be coming over to the far right. So Meter's going to go counterattack, but Scarlett has a bit of an issue. She has to deal with this kind of Cyclone Hellion push kind of right now. If she doesn't deal with it right now, she might be in some trouble. Obviously, she can force the Cyclones to lock onto the meters. She's just going to start talking them down. The Cyclones will begin to lock on. They're all onto different mutalists, though, and so while eventually they might kill them, they're not immediately doing that much damage. Meters will actually pull back to start getting rid of these Hellbats, because it's actually the more major pressing issue. I think Scarlett might just be in trouble, because the meters really are not finding themselves the damage which they were really looking for in this game. But that said, whoa. As the Hellions went back into Hellion mode rather than Hellbats. Whoa. A couple of moments ago, Scarlett was so far behind in supply. Just before the GG. Oh, God damn it. God damn it. Don't do that again. Right, let's go to like here. At this point, Scarlett's being attacked. She goes down to like 60 supply. 66 against 84 supply. But then the Muters turn back around and deal with the Hellions. Obviously, if the Hellions die, the Cyclones die. Why? Did you really GG out? This third hatch just finishing? You're ahead on SCVs? No. I don't think this is a GG. 251. Absolutely crazy. Thank you so much, guys, for the support and all the love. Do appreciate it. Very, very much, guys. New subs and all the rest of it. I'm just going to pause here quickly. And, yeah, thank you for the love, I guess I'll just say one more time. Everyone who's been supporting the stream. We've been a long time trying to push towards 250 subs, and we finally made it. Absolutely crazy. Our next sub goal is going to be in 25 sub points time, when we're going to hit 300 sub points. Well, I did just want to say before, if you are subscribing for the replays, please send me a whisper on Twitch, /W_Wardy with 3 eyes is my Twitch username, and then just say, hey, replay pack please, and I'll send them to you by the end of the day. So just send me a whisper. I think now has just sent me a whisper. And we are going to resume this. So yeah, just send me a whisper if you're a new sub looking for the replay pack, just because otherwise I don't want to have to whisper everyone if some people are subscribing but they're not too bothered about getting the replays. All the new replays go into your Twitch inbox, but that requires sending a message to all the subs, which I do kind of once every 2 weeks or so, when new replay packs come out, rather than just if a new sub joins, obviously, etc, etc. Grandmaster coming in with that Twitch Prime sub as well. Can we see some love in the chat for what is a little bit of a sub train coming on through here, guys? Absolutely crazy. Thank you so much, Grandmaster, for subscribing as well. Now I've got a real Grandmaster sub. Amazing. Alright, guys, let's go into game number 2. Let's see what's going to happen. We start to the top left-hand side of the map. Our red Terran player. Give it up if you're cheering on TY. He's going up against the pink Zerg from Team Expert to the lower right-hand side of the map. It is Scarlett. 1-0 up in this series. I gotta say, if Scarlett beats TY, we could end up in another one of those little tiebreaker scenarios. Because if Scarlett beats TY, TY beats Classic, and Classic beats Scarlett, well, I don't even want to think about it. That said, there was different scorelines against Kelazur, which definitely will help to separate them. And that could make all the difference moving on forwards. Anyways, we'll see how things go. Scarlett could, of course, still beat TY here. If she wins this, she's going to be up very well positioned to get through this group. Anything can still happen. After this, we've got one more series tonight for you guys. Scarlett versus Classic. Should be pretty great. As we set up into game number 2, the early game, nothing too crazy. Both players going to take the hatch or CC on the natural kind of low ground, not the one that's set back or anything. As you can see, this Overlord does not have high ground vision. It does in the end, just has to be in the exact right spot. Now, TVZ on this map is one that a lot of people have been discussing a little bit. Again, this is the map which has these little purple blockers, which you cannot move through. You can move around them, but you cannot actually go where the purple is. So they actually are little blockers, and you'll see, maybe not on this one, but you'll see here the Lings and the SCV will go kind of left and right to be able to kind of get through there. So people were sort of discussing, is this map viable in TVZ? Because you've got to go through so many kind of little choke points to be able to fight as the Zerg. The other argument to kind of return to that is that you could actually kind of fight around... I mean, it's kind of weird because we talk so much about the middle where all these little purple things are, but there's this entire set of bases up here, which is all on the high ground. There's no kind of little chokers, so it just makes the middle of the map a little bit more interesting. A little bit more interesting. Intrigued to see how this will continue on. Again, Creep Team is pushing on forwards, going up the right, starting to go through the center as well. And these couple of Marines pulling back now as well. Link speed coming up 10 seconds from completion. And a medevac comes up as we see some Hellions going to get set up and ready to roll. So some Hellions getting set up and ready to roll here. And we're just going to be seeing again some Marines pulling back. Another couple of Queens continue to come out as well. Does it look darker on the south base, or is that just you? Is that not just because of the creep? I think it might just be because of the creep spread. I think just because of the kind of the color of the Zerg units and stuff. I think it just looks darker than it actually is. Because it's especially because the ground here is like light. When you put the creep over, it actually takes a lot of the lightness away from the map, maybe. So maybe that's what it is. But anyways, it is one of those dark maps. Maybe it needs to be lit up a little bit. I really love the aesthetic though. I really think we need some pink maps in the map pool. I remember last TLMC, there was a couple TLMCs ago. There was a kind of pink. Well, Avex was playing around some pink floral maps. I really loved the pink floral maps. I thought they were really cute, but I think the neon pink sort of aesthetic is on black pink and on this map is really cool as well. So, anyways, a few Hellions going to pop on out of that medevac, and we are going to see an armory coming down. Looks as though TY is looking to continue into some sort of Hellbat Hellion base play. Continue to go in towards this. Again, a few Hellions just sat to the south, and a few more Hellions just going to run over to the right-hand side as well. Looking to set up in a few different directions to get some damage done here. Queen's coming forwards, and Scarlett will be able to keep that Hellions pushed back into the new Hellions. But Scarlett, with the creep spread already pushing out so far forwards, she's going to be able to get units in position to push those away quite comfortably, I feel. Or is she? The Hellions going to make a dive right now. There's the Zerglings. They were just waiting for the moment where he's just going to be able to come in, and TY will be caught off guard. Perfect cleanup. 1 or 2 Zerglings lost. Really couldn't ask for much better than that. Liberator now does find a way in towards the main base mineral line though, and that's going to be a bit of an issue. Spore will have to relocate. The Queen pushes forwards. Nice target firing on the drones to minimize damage taken, to minimize kind of damage loss potentially on the Queen. One drone forwards. And there's actually a really nice little something from TY. It's one of those little extra things you don't oftentimes notice, but it actually makes a difference there, because if he didn't target fire workers, he probably only would have got 1 worker, maybe 2, rather than the 3, because he would have wasted a shot or 2 on a Queen, which then could have pulled out of the liberation zone at the end anyways. So that's a nice little thing to take note of, as we are going to be seeing again these Queens pulling through in towards the center. I think they're going to try and intercept that Liberator, but it's a little bit too late. There's Zerglings here. You know, I really want to see Lings just running through here. I really do. Can tanks or other big units just not go through the block areas? No, they definitely can, I think. They definitely can. We saw Immortals running through here yesterday, and Cyclones, etc. So I think they're okay to move through. I'm pretty sure. I think we actually wouldn't have allowed the map if they couldn't go through. I think at the very worst, maybe some large units have to come around to the larger gaps, like these ones, rather than in here. But I think that might just be about all. Shifty1212, my man, what's up? Coming in to steal the bit boss with the cheer 202. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate the cheer 202. Some love in the chat, please, for all the cheers and stuff coming in. And actually, a $25 donation from Goth Girl Games as well. Thank you so much. I will read it out, any message, etc. after this game. Don't want to tab out to mid-game right now, as action is really building up here. But thank you very much. We'll give you guys some proper shout-outs afterwards, as we do see again those Hellions roasting their way through a whole bunch of these creep tumors. Lots and lots of damage being dealt, as we are just going to be seeing the 4 on the way out for TY as well. +1/+1 missile upgrades coming through. Hydralisk continue coming out, and again Bane Speed and Hydra Speed coming through. Obviously setting up in towards that sort of next stage of the game for Scarlett is Again, this is definitely going to be mech from TY for the second game of the series. Starting to get some longer games once we've gotten into these TVZs, etc. Remember, it's a ZvP to finish the day with Scarlett versus Classic still coming up. Hey, if you like TVZs, I highly advise you tune in for tomorrow's group, though. Group C, Innovation, Zest, Nurture, and Snoot. You guys telling me that's not going to be a great set of games, then I don't know what will be. That's tomorrow from 1 PM CEST once again. Tuesday's group, Solar, Björn, Cyril, and Haas. Also going to be a pretty awesome set of games. So looking forward to that. As you do see this 4 moving forwards, I'm going to be dropping down over in this direction in the next few moments. There's a couple of teams going down. We're going to see some Hellions moving to Hellbats. And Ling's going to try and jump on top of these units. Nice surround. Scarlett shutting this down almost instantly. And that medevac with the 4 inside has to get is pushed back as well. And Scarlett is having a pretty good time. It's going to be seeing the Hive on the way up still from Scarlett. As you see, TY going to take the forward 4th base. We didn't really talk much about the 3rd bases, but they are set back behind these sort of little squares. So just set back behind these little squares, etc. And again, tanks, Hellions are 4. Setting up and looking to see what else is happening. Shifty1212 of another cheer 100. Thank you very much, man. Do appreciate the support. Lots of cheers and bits coming through today. Lots of everything, actually. Lots of subs, lots of donations. We're having a pretty crazy day on the stream. Thank you, everybody. Do appreciate. Setting up now into the second game, waiting to see what else is going to happen. So almost on the way out. Scarlett, of course, is looking to utilize these as she utilized them earlier against Keller's. Didn't make too many before. Made about 6. This time, a few more coming on up. Stormhost able to move through this little gap as well. The Hellions going to start dancing around. So kind of tank, tank in a 4 can move through, but they have to move through this like slightly larger gap, and I believe they can't move through here either. But they'll have to go around the longer side. So it basically creates some kind of different unit movements based on which units you're using. Yeah, I don't think you want to fight this Scarlett. I think there's just a little bit too much here. In fact, those Hellions going to be able to chase down those Hydras a little bit as well. Scarlett taking some free damage. And we're going to see this army continue to move on forwards. Again, the map just really designed to stop kind of larger armies being able to push through in certain directions throughout the game. Some Banes try and push up over here, but isn't successful. Gets a couple depots and then will pull back. So yeah, definitely having to go through these kind of like larger gaps with the tanks, etc. It seems. You can see the Hellbats go through, but the rest of the army all just goes through this other side. TY going to start to siege on up as the Hellbats are actually quite eager to fight here. The Hellbats against Locust actually work pretty well. However, there's some Hydras to back this up. The Banes are just now finishing a bit late from Scarlett, but she is still maxed out. More Hydras and Lings on the way to help. TY, again, maybe having a little bit of difficulty figuring out how to move his army through. And that's the issue. You know, it's again makes this larger army take a much longer path through the game, basically, or through the map. Having to go around these kind of smaller dotted areas rather than just pushing through them, it really does add kind of a little bit of an extra kind of level of interest to the map, I suppose. Again, these Zerglings here are going to get ready to run on through. We are going to see the Locusts. Not ready just yet. They are just about to come off cooldown. And Scarlett going to get ready. The mech player now on the high ground, now on this kind of flatter ground where there's not going to be the kind of the blockers, these purple little bits, to slow him down at all. Bigling run by going to try and get rid of a bunch of units though. Scarlett getting some surrounds on siege tanks, etc. And she will actually clean up the majority of these tanks over here like that. That's actually a really successful run by. At the same time, though, she needs to be able to fight these units, and she's going to drop the Locusts in towards tanks and Hellbats once again. Does she have enough left at home to defend this? She does have a whole bunch of Hydras. She's just going to give up this base for now. If you give up this base, there's going to be these tanks which are able to siege from the high ground onto this mineral line as well, and that could also be a huge issue here. Finally, this run by getting cleaned up. TY losing 14 workers in the process, but obviously picking off an entire base. Pretty worthwhile, you would generally imagine, as these Hellbat drops going to come on in and looking to hit these mineral lines in the next few moments. Some Lings that just popped on are going to be the most successful, although the first 2 Hellbats getting cleaned up pretty quickly as well. Scarlett about to lose this base as well. Will go down to just a 3-base scenario until this hatchery finishes up. Just waiting to see what is next. A lot of drones going down actually in this back base. Going to be seeing these Hellbats dropping off an entire mineral line going down. Here we go though. Scarlett actually jumps on top of a lot of these tanks with the Locusts without them sieged, but it's maybe not what she was hoping for exactly. She is going to come in from top and bottom though, and this is an unsieged army once again, so this could be Scarlett's opportunity. That flank coming on in, is it going to be enough? The Hydras in the south are looking good, and Scarlett's going to clean out. So Scarlett cleans up this entire army. However, again, those two Hellbats down here did a lot of damage. 19 worker kills, 14 kills on one Hellbat, a few on the other. One medevac goes down, but the Hellbat with, well, the medevac with Hellbats inside does get taken away. And we've seen the Hydras finally clean this up, and everything is dealt with here. Scarlett with a chance to rebuild some workers now to get back into that eco, which she might need to keep on pushing away this army. Again, Greater Spire is going to be coming up here in a moment or two, about to finish up actually. So Greater Spire finishing, and again, these Swallows haven't seemed to have much of an effect in the game, but they're still around, and they're still going to be trading here. Resources lost is a fairly even 12.6k apiece. 2Y just losing 44 more at some point of the game. He is set up with an orbital now over on this space here. That's where the locals are going to come into, though. SCV will see these swarm hosts, though, a little bit earlier than expected, I think, for Scarlett. She will still get a couple of SCVs, but the locals are very limited in terms of time frame of what they can do. They get pretty roasted, actually. Another CC top side, and we're starting to really see a macro game here on Neon Violent Lights. So we've seen these Hydras still moving around a little bit. Scarlett herself setting these bases back up will give her a similar set of economy to what TY is working with here. TY taking this base while Scarlett takes this one is the only real difference. Otherwise, it's pretty even numbers. TY to the right-hand side, again, having to move through certain areas because of the size of the units he's utilizing, does make this kind of an interesting situation. We've seen the couple of Lings going forwards, and the Spine Crawler being used to help pick away at those Hellions. Ultras on the way out as well. It's the final kind of addition to this army, but it's going to be difficult to use these Ultras, I think, on this map. We'll probably have to be looking to move up the right-hand side, perhaps, and, like, again, just kind of avoiding kind of these central blockers, because that could become interesting. Liberator gets picked off. Liberator gets picked off, and again, another couple of tanks sieging up. Locusts finding themselves a place where they can do damage without just being picked away at quickly. And they're going to start getting a lot of SCV kills. 5, 6, it's going to be half a mineral line gone by the time these Locusts expire. 10 workers, not bad, and Scarlett finding an opening to actually utilize those. Hellbats, Vikings, etc. Gonna get set and ready to roll. And you're just gonna be seeing again this army here from Scarlett just getting set up, ready to fight in if given the opportunity. This is one of the areas where the Ultras actually don't have to worry about moving through because they're already in the more open area. Vikings and everything gonna land. However, there was a Greater Spire. Is there Broodlords yet? No. Scarlett maxed out without them. She's actually going to come up to the top side. Needs to be careful because, again, those Ultras can only move through this little gap here. They can't move through these gaps. Or she's just going to go straight up counter all the way. Try and just go counter all the way up to the top. Meanwhile, a couple of Hellions have made it through here. She's actually working her way through these rocks as well. TY going to start pulling back, realizing that these Ultras are coming to counter. A couple of Libs come in, but it's not going to stop this base from being in a little bit of trouble. Hydra's actually turning around to fight against these Hellions and Hellbats, which are pushing through. Again, I feel like this is a good counterattack. It forces the mech player to pull away, and it gives Scarlett a time to work with, and it gives her the kind of freedom in supply to get up some Corruptors and into those Broodlords as well, which is something which will be a very strong addition later if she wants it, but she makes 11 more Hydras for now. Clearly not too worried about trying to switch into the Broods just yet. Those Ultras will go down, though. Worthwhile. I mean, she's got a bank to play with, so she can definitely afford some trades like that. She's actually ahead in resources lost as well. And while this is one of the new maps, it's definitely a map that does favor longer games. There's a lot of bases to be played on it, and it does kind of stop you from attacking a lot of the times as well. So, again, one of the new maps here, allowing a kind of a longer macro game. We're going 17 minutes in. And again, this is the issue right now here from TY, that all of his tanks have to come around this left side, really choking up his army and just slowing it down in terms of how he can advance. And as he sieges up in that little choke point there that his tanks can move through, suddenly the other tanks have to go around the other side, so sort of hurting himself momentarily. 15 seconds until Locusts are off cooldown and ready to drop onto this once again. Hydras are setting up, they're starting to fight, and actually this initial fight for these Hydras is not going so badly. They're picking up quite a few Hellions and Hellbats for free, picking off a reinforcing 4 as well, and Scarlett's set up to come in from a couple different directions all over again. One single Liberator here. Hellions pushing forwards once more though. There's a couple more Liberators further back. If the Hydras get towards them, though, it could be great. The Abductors are here now, though, and the Locusts are starting to drop in, too. Vikings are coming into play, but maybe a bit too late. A Blinding Cloud to help against one of these tanks. These next couple of Liberators, well, they're going to get dragged away as well, and Hydras, Lings, Banes, and Ultras are pushing on through, and it looks as though Scarlett is going to clean up this mech army all over again. Scarlett, there's just nothing stopping her at the moment. She's having a wild time against TY in the second game of this series. 124 to army to 64 army supply. Her drone count is way down, 20 workers behind, but she already had a bank, which means she can already push forwards into the next phase of this. A few too many siege tanks there, though. She needs at least the Vipers to come forward with her. Locust coming off cooldown as well. Problem is attacking into this position. Well, again, she can come around this side, right, and attack in from there. Just to see what the next little movement is. Locust actually going to jump over to this side, pick away a couple of building factories and SCVs once more. Again, just trying to slow TY down while she actually rebuilds drones of her own. Hasn't really expanded recently, but can continue to push up in towards these bases perhaps, or these bases down here. Surprised she doesn't go up from this base to this base, push through here, and then maybe go for an attack there. Maybe doesn't want to encourage the Terran player to do a similar thing. She's going to loop around now. There is access to the natural expansion from this left-hand side also. Obviously, TY never took this base like Scarlett did, so it says natural that comes under fire very quickly. And the high ground of this base, which can obviously have some implications as well. Hydra's an Ultra and a Queen or two. Gavin to give to the right side. 3 Vipers on the way up. And 18 Zerglings still on the way out. We're going to have a lag spike. I think that's Crank that's dropping out at the moment. So we return. Oh yeah, a few more Vipers coming through here. Scarlett setting up around the map.
Game paused.
Gonna double check TY's ready. Alright, getting back into this, and a couple of Hellions get caught. The Locust just popped up to come in this direction, but they're gonna get greeted by Liberators and Vikings. A lot of them will go down before they drop, a few will drop, and when they do drop, there isn't actually a lot here to defend it. So these factories still in trouble. Scarlett breaking through into this position as well. These Hydras are just caught up though. The 4 is actually target firing down Hydras, it seems. Now, those Hydras, if they were so caught up, they would have actually had a great fight there while the Ultra was tanking. At the same time, though, Scarlett pushes through. She wants that orbital, and she gets it. And TY really just being pulled all around the map. Scarlett with money to spend, getting back up in terms of that army supply. Rebuilding once again. Oh, can the Ultras actually move through there? Ultras can move through here, but tanks can't? What? The Ultra just moved through that little gap. That's crazy. Is that intentional, that Ultras can move through, but tanks can't? That's really weird, it feels like. And you're going to be seeing the Locust once again over here. This has actually been the most successful position on the map for the Locust all game long. Consistently finding damage in this sort of location, in this position. 20 minutes in, and anyone's game to play for right now. Waiting for the next stage of this. 4 more Ultras on the way up, 4 more Banes, a bunch of Zerglings coming through as well here. Transfuse gets popped by Scarlett onto one of those Ultras. Vikings will come over to the left-hand side, still seeing what's going on. A Liberator up in the sky as well. Moving around, seeing where it can go to. +3 vehicle plating. About to finish up from TY. Carapace on the way from Scarlett now. Late game scenario really is here. I'm surprised by the lack of Broods, but maybe just because there's already the Vikings up, and Scarlett now doesn't have the bank to invest into Corruptors and Broods, and Corruptors to still fight the Vikings. We're seeing these fours continue to fight, and we're just going to be seeing a couple of Swarm hosts going to go down. We're going to be seeing the Lingers Hydras. And an Ultra just going to move around and see what else they can do. These run-bys have been successful throughout the game, and TY does not lift up both depots. And so his production here in the main base is going to start being under fire. Well, actually, the Hellbat's coming out in the 4 in a perfect time to shut down those Lings. And that's very important. Scarlett, though, has to deal with this mech army still. She's got Vipers. It's pretty much mass 4 at this point, which is kind of crazy. Some Ultras are going to move forwards. There is Queens for some transfusions. Scarlett might just have to give this base up, as we still see Lings, Banes, Hydras, Ultras, all sorts counter-attacking at the moment. Blake Blinding Clouds coming down. These 4 suddenly can't fight, and TY will type out GG. Guys, game 3 of Scarlett and TY, and down 2 games to the bottom right-hand side. Let's see if you can take a map here. If not, Scarlett's going to be 6-0 in this group, and I don't actually know where it goes from there, actually. That would be kind of crazy. Let's see what's going to happen. To the bottom right-hand side, our red Terran player, it's TY. Going up against the pink Zerg from Team Expert, Scarlett, in the upper left, having won the last 2 games. Again, it is September, guys. I know I've been talking about subs a lot, but we're only 24 subs away from unlocking a new sub emote slot. So if you want to help us out with that, it's just $2.50 to subscribe. You can get a whole chunk of replays for the rest of the month as well. And of course, you're supporting the channel on the events we run. So do check that out. And again, thank you for all the support today. The fact we've gone not just to 250 subs, but past 250 subs is absolutely crazy. Onwards and upwards. And to the left and to the right and all over the place. We just spread ourselves. Alright, well, let's talk about the proxy hatchery coming down from Scarlett here to the south side of the map. Getting set up and getting rolling. This hatchery coming on down. So Scarlett going to go aggressive here for the final game against TY. TY, Reaper opening, but isn't going to SCV scout, so we'll not see the lack of a expansion just yet. Will take a little while. It is a fairly small map. It's one of the rush maps kind of submitted to this event. Abiogenesis made by, I believe I know this one too, but I'm just going to double check. -0. So the same guy that made Anomaly, and also the guy who submitted Catalyst, which is one of the maps we're actually yet to see here today still. Hopefully we'll see it a little bit later on in our final series between Scarlett and Classic. It's going to be seen Overlord scouts forwards. Obviously wants to keep this Overlord for high ground vision up the ramp at some point here. Rotron on the way down, and as the Reaper comes across, is about to see the lack of a natural expansion, and that's when TY will begin to respond to the fact that something is a little bit off. Doesn't go into the main base to see what's up, though. Suppose the Reaper straight back home. Ling's already over here. CC cancels immediately. Crazy stuff, as we're going to be seeing the Ling just going to start nibbling its way through that supply depot. Couple of roaches on the way out, looking to see what else is happening. A bunker going to come down on the low ground as well in a moment or two. And just continue to set into this. Obviously, the Reaper going to grab the Ling, but as the Queen comes forward, the creep is spreading. And this first CV building the bunker is going to go down. Going to target down the Reaper as well. Now, in the first roach coming up, low ground bunker will not come up here. Cyclone on the way as the TY defense does begin. So TY defense starting up, a couple of Marines coming forward. SCV is trying to surround here and actually gets a surround on the Ravager. It's trapped in. Nice placement of the SCVs to kind of get that surround and stop the Ravager from just being able to pull backwards. It's a nice initial snipe which will slow Scarlett down to some extent. Overlords moving forwards. Again, the idea being Scarlett, if she can just get forwards with the Overlords, can get that high ground vision to help out a lot. And we've seen the Ravager is actually getting a lot of damage done on that Cyclone now. Now the Cyclone has to be the one trying to pull back up the ramp. It's going to take one final shot, though. It is going to go down. A new Cyclone about to pop. This is going to stand the corrosive bowels. Well, for a second it does, but now it does manage to survive, and it does pull back to get repaired. Depot's going to get taken down, though, and that is because the Cyclones are no longer here because they've taken so much damage / died. Now, if the Cyclone's going down, the Depots have fallen, and Scarlett's starting to make progress into the main. That means there's not kind of a forever kind of kiting position. There's not a safety position. Transfuse comes down to keep the Ravager alive a bit longer. Again, SCV's trapping units in. The Cyclone is doing a lot, but 5 workers killed Scarlett. Putting work in herself right now. Second Cyclone will come out. TY still supply block, though, so can't build anything else just yet. Needs a supply depot. He's already called down a supply. He actually doesn't have another depot he can call down supply onto. Again, the Ravager's going to try and pile down at the front, and obviously a kill on the barracks immediately would be nice. The reactor's starting to drop as well. Now both of them are on fire. Especially if we can see the factory here kind of being denied. That'd be kind of huge. Because the factory is what's building those Cyclones, and the Cyclones are the real DPS dealers of this army at the moment, as Scarlett is going to break in towards the main base. SCVs are dropping. Now SCVs and Cyclones going to push on forwards again. Another corrosive bowel coming down as we see those Ravagers kind of around. Went for the factory again for a moment there, but actually I think a better choice is to just go for the Cyclones. The Cyclones getting lower and lower. The Cyclones fall. The SCVs are going down. Scarlett 3-0 against TY. Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. Scarlett just monster.